नमस्कार फ्रेंड, आप सभी का स्वागत है और सभी बैंकर साथियों को 55th नेशनलाइजेशन डे का बहुत बहुत बधाई। बैंकों के राष्ट्रीयकरण का 55वां वर्ष हम मना रहे हैं। इस अवसर पर हम सभी अपने बैंकर साथियों को बहुत बहुत बधाई देना चाहते हैं और भगवान से भी ये प्रार्थना करते हैं कि ये नेशनलाइजेशन बना रहे, किसी भी सरकार का को भाजन ना हो और बैंकों का प्राइवेटाइजेशन किसी भी कीमत पर ना हो। फ्रेंड्स, 55वां साल के साथ साथ लेकिन बैंकर्स का जो हालत है, बैंकर्स के वेज रिवीजन का, बैंकर्स के पेंडिंग इश्यूज का, इसके बारे में गवर्नमेंट का कोई भी ध्यान आकर्षण नहीं होता है। वेज रिवीजन 12th बाइपार्टाइट सेटलमेंट नवंबर 2022 से ड्यू है, लेकिन अभी तक इनिशियली टॉक शुरू नहीं हुए हैं। हालांकि इस बारे में गवर्नमेंट का कहना है कि दिसंबर के पहले इस वेज रिवीजन को अब फाइनल कर दें, लेकिन कितना ये असर होता है आईबीए पे या हमारे ईओपीओ पे। टॉक्स, स्ट्राइक्स, डिलेस, व्हाई वेज रिवीजन इज ऑलवेज ए चैलेंज एट पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स, इस बारे में हम बात करते हैं। द गवर्नमेंट हैज रिपोर्टेडली आस्क्ड द इंडियन बैंक एसोसिएशन to start negotiation for the 12 bipartite settlement in a time-bound manner and finalize it by December 1st, 2023. The wage revision for employees and officers of public sector banks is due from November 1st, 2022. Since 1966, wage revision and related terms and conditions of bank employees have been settled through negotiation between bank managements represented by the IBA and the employees unions. The unions generally submit a charter of demand to the IBA, which starts the process of negotiation. Wage settlement for banks has always been a tedious and time-consuming process, with bank managements represented by IBA and employees unions engaging in tough negotiations. Historically, delay of 2 or 3 years in wage settlement have led to a substantial accumulation of arrears which are eventually dispersed in a lump sum. Even the present settlement has already been delayed by more than 9 months, and see table on delays of the earlier settlements below. अगर आप मैं आपको क्लिपिंग्स है जिसमें आप देखेंगे कि जितने भी सेटलमेंट्स हुए हैं वो लगभग 2.5 से 3 साल के बीच में हुए हैं। We also see protracted agitation including strikes, call by employees to achieve their demand. Unions and banks usually blame each other for the tardy process of settlement, but it has an economic cost. Unrest in the banking industry will affect growth of economy. Why the delay? Any union worth its credibility will try to get the maximum for the employees, and bank unions are no exception. Hence, the demand will generally be higher. For example, though the unions know quite well that the management may not concede at 20% of increase in wages, they will put forth a demand to the effect. The IBA's attitude is no better. For instance, during the last wage revision negotiation, the IBA initially offered a mere 2% increase, which was ridiculous. Finally, the settlement was reached at a 15% increase in payslip. The IBA gets a mandate from the banks to negotiate on their behalf. However, it is not empowered to decide on their own. The IBA makes frequent consultation with the government to go forward. This delays the process. Like any other industry, the wage settlement in banks is also linked to the earnings and profitability of banks. However, the banks do not operate strictly based on the concept of maximization of the shareholder value. They have to serve society by financial inclusion. They extend priority sector credit in concessional rates of interest. They open branches to serve society where the operations may not be profitable. Banks' major earnings come from the interest charge, but the interest rates are guided by the policy rates of RBI, and the RBI considers inflation, growth, desired liquidity, government borrowings, etc., to decide on the public rates. Hence, it may not be fully correct to link wage and the profitability of the banks, but the government of the day always connect the two. When wage settlement is delayed, arrears are paid each settlement and the employees get 2 or 3 years arrears. They get a lump sum and the unions collect a percentage of such arrears as levy. During the last wage settlement, when the negotiations were on, the IBA unilaterally directed banks to release a lump sum as an interim measure. Strangely, the unions objected to it, probably due to the cut in the levy. Of late, the management has been taking a tough posture as we saw the 2% hike of offer in the last settlement. 3 or 4 decades ago, the collective bargaining concept meant that the management would bargain, but ultimately the unions would collect. But gone are those days. With core banking and the various delivery channels like net banking, ATM, UPI, NFT, RTGS, etc. introduced, many transactions can happen in banks even without employees' presence, and unions cannot paralyze banking operations. Also, private sector banks like ICICI, HDFC Bank, etc. continue to provide full services when public sector bank employees go on strike. With all these developments, employees' strikes are no longer all that effective and bank employees have lost their bargaining power. Banks are backbone of our economic system. Hence, it is necessary to attract and retain talent in the banks. And this is possible only with the conducive working conditions. The compensation package is an important tool to achieve this. The government's suggestion to complete wage settlement in banks on time is therefore a timely one. The wage revision talks continue only in the traditional way, and there do not seem to be any effort to address these challenges to the public sector banks. It would be in the fitness of the things if the banks and the unions try to achieve the best talent and performance with the best compensation package. And government has also suggested that the wage structure of the public sector bank must be competitive with the private sector banks. हम अगर बैंकर्स को बैंकिंग इकोनॉमी को मजबूत करना चाहते हैं तो बैंकर्स का वेज स्ट्रक्चर इस तरह से होना चाहिए जो उनके लिवलीहुड के साथ साथ उनका एक सोशल स्टेटस हो। फ्रेंड्स, और गवर्नमेंट को या डीएफएस को पत्र लिख देना कि आप दिसंबर तक कंक्लूड कर दें, इट इज नॉट ए सफिशिएंट। दे हैव टू मॉनिटर स्टेप बाय स्टेप कि 12th बाइपार्टाइट सेटलमेंट के लिए क्या डेवलपमेंट है, और दे शुड नॉट ऑफर ए 2% ऑफ द मीगर अमाउंट. दे शुड ऑफर एज ए पैरेलल टू द बैंकिंग स्टडी industry, not 15 to 20% less. So bargaining and the negotiation must be very short and very soon. So friends, government has the vital role to initiate, to finalize the wage revision of the bankers before December by monitoring the IBA's conduct. Thank you friends. Namaskar.